Hello, good morning. My team is conformed by Jorge Nava and Carlos Lopez, and we're going to talk about Homo neanderthalensis. So let's begin. Together with an ancient people known as Denisovas, Neanderthals are our closest ancient human relatives. Scientific evidence suggests our two species share a common ancestor, as current evidence from both fossils and DNA suggests that Neanderthal and modern human lineage separate at least 500,000 years ago. Some genetic calibrations place their divergence at about 650,000 years ago, so the Neanderthals have a long evolutionary history. The earliest known examples of Neanderthal-like fossils are around 530,000 years ago. The best known Neanderthals lived between about 130,000 and 40,000 years ago.
Neanderthals evolved in Europe and Asia. The species ranged widely in Eurasia, from Portugal and Wales in the west across the Altai Mountains of Siberia in the east, although the first Neanderthal remains were found at sites in Belgium and Gibraltar in 1830 and 1848 respectively. They weren't recognized as such until decades later.
It was the partial skeleton of a male Neanderthal unearthed during quarrying operations in the Neander Valley in Germany in 1856 that was first recognized as a distinct form of human.
The condition of the remains over the years, other bones and parts of Neanderthal fossils have been discovered. Here we will mention the most important. One of those is the skull of Gibraltar, belonged to a Neanderthal female and was found at Forbes Quarry in Gibraltar in 1848. It is the first adult Neanderthal skull ever found, although it was recognized as such until it was re-examined after the identification of the Neander Valley skeleton.
So now talking about the condition of the remains, Cima de los Huesos human remains. Since 1976, over 6,500 human fossils, representing about 28 individuals, have been recovered in the Cima de los Huesos, or Pit of the Bones, in Atapuerca in northern Spain. The human remains consist of humble partial or nearly complete skeletons, mainly those of adolescents and young adults.
This fossil from the Thames Valley in England is in fact the back half of a brain case. It dates from a warm interglacial period about 400,000 years ago. It is generally regarded as belonging to an early Neanderthal woman. Her brain left its mark on the surrounding bone. How do the remains compare to an anatomically modern human? Compare skull, shape, teeth, patterns, hands, feet, height, and build, and anything else you might find relevant. Neanderthals had a long, low skull with a characteristic prominent brow ridge above their eyes.
Now, how do the remains compare to an anatomically modern human? Their face was also distinctive. The central part of the face protruded forward and was dominated by a very big white nose. Some scientists think this feature may have been an adaptation to living in cooler, dry environments.
The large internal volume of the nose would have acted to moisten and warm the air they breathed. The front teeth were large and scratch marks so they were regularly used like a third hand when preparing food and other materials. Unlike modern humans, Neanderthals didn't have much of a chin.
Neanderthals had strong muscular bodies and wide hips and shoulders. Adults grew to about 1.50 to 1.75 meters tall and weighed about 64 to 82 kilograms. Early Neanderthals were taller on average than the later Neanderthals, but their weight was about the same.
What evidence is there of a specimen behavior? What is found along with others? Well, the short, stocky physiques were suited to cold environments. The bulky trunk, in addition to the short lower leg and lower arm bones, gave Neanderthal proportions that would have minimized the skin surface area, presumably to conserve heat under the predominantly colder conditions of the last 2,000 years.
So finally, what evidence is there of the specimen's behavior? Neanderthals were skilled tool makers, as evidenced by excavated objects such as spears and flint hand axes. Around 300 and 1000 years ago, Neanderthals developed an innovative stone technology known as the Levallois technique. This involved making pre-shaped stone cores that could be finished into a finished tool at a later time. It meant Neanderthals were free to travel away from sources of raw material and yet be able to make tools when needed.
We know from injuries found on their prey that Neanderthals were proficient hunters, intelligent, and able to communicate. Healed and unhealed bone damage found on Neanderthals themselves suggest that they killed large animals at a close range.
So that's all, thanks for watching and see you later.